Good day everyone, back after a while with something new. With our first Blue Archive stream. Ooh. Finally something that's not FGO. So Blue Archive is a very fun and charming little game that I've stumbled upon fairly recently. And well, it's another gacha game, and you know what we do on those, we roll. And right now is a really nice time to roll because this little lass right here is rated up, Himari, and she is a very good unit that is really important if you want to do a lot of the very higher end in-game or post-game, late-game stuff, whatever you want to refer to it as, raids and such. So if you're starting out a fresh account, it's a perfect time to re-roll until you luck out and get her. It'll really help you out in the long run. If you start after this, all's not completely lost because she is permanent, she's not limited. In fact, unlike FGR, the overwhelming majority of the characters called students in this game are permanent. There are actually very few that are limited, which is pretty nice. As for currencies, right here's your AP. Here's your credits, that's your money, that's basically the equivalent of QP in FGR. And naturally here's your Saint Quartz equivalent. In this case it's Paroxene, and as opposed to how it's 3 Saint Quartz for one roll, in FGR it's 120 Pyroxene for one roll here. As for pity systems, this game has one called Spark. If you roll 200 times on a banner, okay, every time you roll you get recruitment points. And if you hit 200 of these, then you can just select one of the current banner students, whether you've already gotten a copy of them or not. So that's very lovely. That's why it's always recommended to have at least 200 rolls worth of Pyroxene ready to go each time you're going to roll, just to be safe. The rates in this game, so rarities, so in FGR you have 1 stars to 5 stars. Well, this game goes from 1 stars to, well, rolling wise you go from 1 star to 3 star. 3 star is the highest rarity that you can roll. Now you can upgrade a character to 4 star and then to 5 star. Any of them can go all the way to 5 stars, but rolling wise 3 stars the limit. And whereas FGO's rate up for an SSR is 1%, this game is 3% except on anniversary, also called Fest banners, of which they have 2 a year, every 6 months. And on those they double the rate for 3-star units, which is pretty lovely. And afterwards they give you 100 free rolls too. So it's pretty neat on whatever is the immediate next banner following the Fest one. But okay, so FGO, SSR's 1%. This game at base they're 3%. It was 2.5, but it got buffed at some point to 3%, which is the equivalent of the 4-star rate up in FGO. So that's pretty lovely. But enough jibber jabber. Let's get to rolling, shall we? I've been a bit silly on this account, where I've done no rolling except for the starter roll. So I've been in a bit of a bind. I'm actually hoping to get a Serena here. She's a very useful. Also, similar to FGR, even lower rarity units, 1 stars, 2 stars, can be extremely useful. That's the wrong healer. There she is, finally. She is one of, if not the best healer in the game, this little 1-star unit. In fact, it's very recommended that when you get her to immediately 2-star as soon as you're able, which I'll go over in a bit, I suppose. If I remember. Back-to-back Pino.
ご主人様と一緒に楽しい一日をお会いできて嬉しいです。先生はどんなレースが好きですか？
I haven't the foggiest what she does.
少女を美しくするのは
Another copy of Uta. Now you can kind of get a heads up on whether you've gotten a 3-star student in your role, because these blue lines will be purple. Also, the screen will flash purple when Arona, which is the blue haired lass, that hands you this, is doing her little animation there. Also, occasionally, that you see the gold flash right there? Well, sometimes that'll be a purple flash. And, lots of peanut. I repeat, lots of peanut. Okay, another copy of Tsubaki. She is basically your premier tank in the game. She's uber useful, really strong. Evasion tanks are really strong early and mid game here, and she. So you basically got just super defensive tanky tanks, and then evasion tanks, and then hybrids, and she's a hybrid. She's both quite tanky, but also with high evasion. Which is really handy, because early on, evasion tanks basically rule the roost until you can get, say, early mid-game to where you can start getting better equipment. Oh, Momoy. That's good, that's going to save me like a month's worth of grinding raids. Where was I? So yeah, basically you get a tier 4 equipment, and then the bag that certain tanks, most tanks can equip, gives them just a whole bunch of HP and defense, and it makes defensive tanks really stout, and makes evasion tanks just even better too. Nice seeing that Momoy there. Oh yes, I mentioned saving enough Pyroxene. Oh, there was a purple. As you can see, we've gotten us a 3-star. Oh gee, what was I? A lot of
こっちの言葉
Pina.
の方がよ説明や解説が必要。白衣の天使が
Here's another really good healer. She's a nice backup for if, well, you'll need multiple teams, so she's a good second team healer. Kotama,
先生の声が聞こえたので
very useful, really good buffer unit. Increases your attack. Let's see who this is. Or, I approve of that. That'll really save time on raid farming.
得意なことは単独行動。
So
少女は小柄で隠れやすいところ。
unlike FGO,
それぐらいかな。
where
他に何か聞きたいことは。
they're only, when it comes to free servants, the welfare servants, you just get those from events every now and then. This game has those too, where servants you can get from events, but there's also a not small amount of really good students that you can just farm in the game and you don't even have to roll for them. And you can get them from various ways, whether it's doing hard mode nodes or the raids or the PvP mode or just various other things like that, which is really nice.
怪我をされた方はいらっしゃいますか？
So she just getting her there because she's 3-star saved me 120 LF. LF being these little character shards. So these are your currency that you essentially use to upgrade the character's star rating. So you can go from 1 to all the way to 5-star, or 2 to 5-star, 3 to 5-star. And once you hit 5-star, they also get a special little thing called unique equipment, which is they actually get to equip whatever weapon they're holding in the artwork. And that gives them even more stats and special effects, and then you can star it up too. Right now, from 1-star to all the way to 3-star. Eventually they're going to add 4 and 5, but even in JP, which is 6 months, roughly 6 months ahead of all the other servers, that's not been added just yet.
ゲヘナ学園給食部のジュリといごきげんよう。あ、こっちの言葉の方がより自然。これからすっごく面白い
Another
物語が
Momoy.
始ま
We
るよ。
take those. We definitely take this. I'm pretty keen on getting her. She's a really good unit. And there too, so she can come from, you can farm her from raids. However, there are 2 different token types. Actually, both of these can be farmed from raids, her and Momoy. Kotama as well, come to think of it. This is actually a pretty good example role here. But there are 2 different raid currencies. There's a gold one and then a purple one. The purple one being the rarer one. And she comes from the rare ones, whereas they both can drop from the gold ones. And essentially,
私ゲヘナ学園給食部のジュリ。小さいからってなめ
you
ない
can
で。
buy stacks of 5 of their character ellipses.
お会いできて嬉しいです。
Himari again.
本の中の物語のように、本の中の物語のように、ゲヘナ学園給食。
Lots of Judies. A whole lot of Judies.
ゲヘナ学園
My goodness, Judy. Come on.
お会いできて嬉しいです。先生。
What's with all the
先
ironies?
生はどんなエースが好きですか？
There are a lot more 2-star units that I could really use. Never on the Pyroxene. Alright, so 24,000 Pyroxene is what you need for 200 rolls. So that's what you need to try to aim for when you're saving per banner. the good news is, even as a free-to-play player, as long as you play every day, which, unlike FGO, it really does not take long for this game, because you can basically do everything, all of your dailies in like 20 minutes if you wanted to each day. So it really does not burden your time. As long as you're playing regularly, even as a free-to-play, you'll be able to get a spark every 2 months. And when you're starting out on a new account, it's even more because you get loads of first time for Roxine rewards. Okay, so just further explain this. So these are ellipses, these little character shards, and as I mentioned before, you can use them to star up characters, but when you get them from event shops or raid shops, the various shops, or collect them from hard mode nodes, you can also just use them to purchase the character outright, which is very useful in a pinch. Generally it's recommended to kind of wait a bit, especially if you're going to roll soon, in case you actually get the character, because that saves you a whole heap in load, and then those can go towards actually upgrading the character. But then these characterless ones are called Eligma, and you can use them to buy character shards as well. They start at 1 for 1 for the first 20. Every 20 you buy, the cost of the ratio goes up by 1. So for the first, if you wanted to get Akane Ellipse using Eligma, for the first, so you could use 20 Eligma to get 20 of her character tokens of her Ellipse. However, the next 20 will cost 40. It will cost 2 per copy instead of 1, and it'll increase that way up to 5, and it won't go any higher than that, and it won't reset either. So you really need to do a big think before using those. It's usually recommended to save them for when a raid is coming up and you need very specific characters juiced up for them, and you can use them to do so there. There's another healer. She's something else character-wise. She's quite cheeky. Quite cheeky. Oh, saw that purple. Three golds as well. We take those. Boy, I'm getting you a lot. I really have no idea what you do either. Oh, hair? Okay. Millennium. Well, there we go. And we're finished. On this account, because I wouldn't be me if I didn't have an ult, at least one. Surprise, surprise. There she be. Just took 70 rolls too. And we're going to save the rest of them. Like, we almost still have pity. That's crazy. We actually do, because I have another 10 roll ticket coming in like a couple days. So that's super lovely. Alrighty. So, survey the damage here. That's just really nice. That's very helpful. Because I really needed more AoE. Could have went with some more red AoE, but beggars can't be choosers here. Incidentally, down here in the not owned menu, you can go and let's see. Oh, here's the other real super support, by the by. So if you're re-rolling and say Himari's not on raid up or whatever, you can re-roll until you get either of them after they're made permanent. Either has another one. She basically does the campaign, which is sort of a companion to the story mode. She'll basically do it single-handedly for you. But yeah, you can click on them directly and then it will show you, oh, I have 50 out of 120 LF that I could exchange to unlock it. So it's 120 per 3-star student to unlock. For 2-star. You're 3-star, aren't you? Yeah. That's you. Yeah. Having issues remembering who's a 2 and who's a 3. What's you? Okay. Ah, you're a 2. Yeah. So 2 stars is just 40, and for 1 stars, which I don't think there are any. I highly doubt there are any 1 stars that I don't have at least 1 copy of at this point. But I think they're like 20. But you really don't need to be unlocking them in the first place, since they're so common. Okay. Main account check. Now we switch over to the spare. The alt account. It crashed, didn't it? Bugger. It's not very nice. See if we can't get that pulled back up. And hopefully we can have a similar level of luck with it, because unfortunately I don't quite have enough to spark on this account yet, but I'm very close, and her banner lasts 2 weeks, so there's no real worry about if you're close to spark but don't quite have it. So that's good news at least. Suppose while that's loading up, I could show you a little bit of the shop. So here's the regular shop. You purchase mostly using credits. You can also use Pyroxene to purchase things though. I wouldn't recommend getting anything from here unless you're opening up the wallet on the game a bit. When it comes to things to purchase, the recommendation usually seems to be the enhancement stones, the blue and grey ones, and then the 4 materials at the bottom. Because they don't cost very much and they're quite valuable because you'll need a lot of all that stuff. Here's the Enigma shop. As you can see, you can purchase airlifts for any character that you actually own. In fact, we'll be 2-starring Serena here after I finish rolling. Enigma 2 shop is for instead mats and such. But generally, when it comes to Enigma, you only want to buy airlift with it. And here's the raid shop, the total assault shop. As you can see, there's Azusa. She takes the purple tokens. As you can see, each instance of one of these that you purchase is 5 airlift. And for the ones you can get with the gold tokens, you can do that 10 times. So each raid you can get 50 airlift for them. Unfortunately, with the purple ones, these 2 lasses, it's only 5 times each raid. So and then there are other shop types as well down there, but let me see if I can get this switched over. Okay, are we good? Are we working? Please. Okay. Okie dokie. I believe we have liftoff. Also, this account has Arco because so there was an event going on that had a welfare student, and there was only like 4 days left of it when I started my first account. And I was really paranoid when it came to re-rolling and starting the account because I'm like, oh dear, I really need to hurry. So I didn't re-roll as much as I should have because I was afraid it would take an eternity to qualify for the event and then do enough of the event to get the welfare. Turns out, you literally get far enough in the campaign, you get to Battle 3 of Section 2. It really does not take long. You can knock that out in like an hour, playing slowly. And then you just had to do the first story part of the event, which is just a cutscene. So there was that. That was quite something. But alrighty, let's see how we do on this account. Fingers crossed. Oh, was that purple I saw? It's a good start. This account actually would have already had a spark ready to go, but I actually rolled a wee bit to begin with, which is nice to do. About 50 rolls or so, just to get you started. Like, this account's had a much easier time progressing through the campaign and such than my main account has. Because the main account had nothing. Okay, who is it? Ah,
至らない私ですが、よろしくお願いします。
well, she does her best.
小さいからってなめないで。将来性はものすごいんだから。
I could also be getting her mixed up with someone else who's not spectacular.
私に任せてくだ
Now, I say
さい。
that, but
ミレニアム学園
generally,
音瀬小玉
there aren't really any
先生
like
の声が聞こ
unusable
えたので
students
こ
in
こ
the
に
game.
来ました。これからすっごく面白い
There's
物語が
Momoy.
始まるよ。
Glad to see her coming along.
Millennium 学園
There's Kotama
ゲ
coming.
ヘナ学園給食
You want to get Kotama to 3-star. You don't want to spend the Ligma on her though. Oh. Really, because you can get her for free just doing raids. Seriena's the one you want to.
別に協力するつ
Or
もりはないんだけ
Junko.
ど
We take those.
少女を美しくするのは
Oh, Garuda's Uta. This game as well. Those are both very nice pickups.
私がご主人様と一緒に
Junko's one that you can
ご主
farm
人
in
様と一緒に
hard mode nodes, so that actually
私は
saves
綾音です。
a bunch of farming.
ただいまより先生の
She is another healer. Oh, get flashed. Careful.
美食研究会の赤い
Kari,
これから
another
一緒
copy
に
of her. She's another one that's farmable.
行きましょうか。
Her and Junko become farmable roughly at the same time.
怪我をされた方はいらっしゃいますか？本の中の物語のように。
Okay, who's this guy? Millennia. Oh. Huh.
セミナーの初期、牛尾ノアです。
I am
よ
not
ろしくお
familiar
願い
with
しますね、先
what
生。
she does.
さまざまな面で。はい。説明や解説が必要なら。説明や解説が必要。試練が怖いとき。
I saw glasses and
解説が必要
I was like, oh, there she is again.
ゲヘナ学園給食部の
Trying out to. There we go. Really would have loved to get her on my main, but can't really lead to. It's all about getting Himari so quickly, because that might get me an extra banner that I can roll on this year. Which is actually pretty important for that account, since that account doesn't have Okka.
私本の中の物語のように試練が
I
怖い
believe Shimiko actually becomes quite
団任務
important
の延
at
長ですね。
the highest difficulty of raids.
説明や解説が必要なら説明や解
The
説が
difficulty
必要
that we don't even have here yet.
別に協力
It's
するつも
fairly
りは
recent
ない
even
んだ
in JP server. Okay, who's this? Oh, Red Winter.
どれだけ寒い場所
Moustache
だって関係
lolly.
ない。
Herself, Sherino. Unfortunately, it's Heartspring Sherino, which isn't spectacular. Her regular version, though, is quite good, but it's going to turn down the moustache.
給食部の風花です。
Oh,
食べ
Fuka.
たいものがあったら
I mentioned might get me an extra important banner. Her New Year's form is who I was referring to. She's quite good. She's like a mix of I'll go with Ui, who's another support. She kind of does what both of them do combined, but obviously to a lesser degree than either of them individually. But generally, it's enough. And it's so that's pretty neat. That's my first Red Winter unit. There really aren't many of them in the game. I don't think so. I think some more were added fairly recently in JP, but I don't know, banners may be running together on Kayako. Oh, Himari. She's another... I'm pretty sure she's a healer. Probably. Also Shimiko. Getting a lot of hair. It's interesting. Okay, now it was at this point where I ended up getting her on the main. Let's see if this account is more or less lucky. Looking like less. Incidentally, a min roll here would be 1 gold, because you get 1 gold or better guaranteed each 10 roll. So that's what a min roll looks like in this game. Well, to be fair, that's what a min roll looks like in FGR as well. Ah, she said. Another Akari. I might be approaching upgrade level for Akari. Maybe. Perhaps. I reckon we'll see. You have no idea how glad I am to see that those Tsubakis, because this account, despite rolling a bit, so the main account had the issue of only having 1 healer. This account had the issue of only having 1 tank. So that's really happy to see that. because Yuka
あの
is quite
私が
good,
来ても
but
あの
she unfortunately
ご主人
begins to
様
fall
と
off.
一緒に楽し小さいからっ
It's
て飲めない
mostly
で
because she doesn't get a
怪我を
bag
された方はいらっしゃいますか
accessory like
あのあの
a lot of other tanks do.
黒見セリカよ言っと自警団任務の延長ですね黒見セリカよ言っとくけど私が一緒になる以上真面目にやってよね
Okay, this is halfway. This is 100 rolls. Hopefully we can. Hopefully she comes home.
説明や解説が必要なら私に任せてください
Okay. What? Huh.
白洲あずさ
That's funny. That's funny getting her on both. How about that?
別に協力するつもりはない
She clearly wasn't rated up either, so it's not like something sketchy there happening.
今から何ご主人様と一緒に楽しい小さいからって舐めないで給食部の風花です食べた小さいからって舐めないでミレニアム学園給食部の風花です食べたいものがあったらいつでもおっしゃってください
It's going to be kind of anticlimactic if we end up having to go all the way to Spark when this camp doesn't quite have Spark yet. It'll be a couple days.
私がバルキューレ警察学校のキリノです正義実現委員会
Huh.
早川蓮美
I almost forgot she was even rollable.
怪我をされた
This
方
is
はい
the
らっし
first
ゃい
one
ま
I've
すか
seen.
正義実現委員会
Wasn't that funny?
試練が怖いとき怒ってないから怒ってないから誤解しないでね先生
Who likes giving me doubles?
顔が怖いってよく
That's
言われ
alright
るんだ
though. We take those. Oh, if you don't hit skip there, you can write in the little text box, but I have bad handwriting even with my
本の中の
dominant
物語
hand,
のように私たちの
let
物語
alone
が
using my right hand on the mouse.
自警団任務の延長ですね
So we don't bother with that here.
試練が怖いとき会えて嬉しい
Really are getting a lot of copies of hair.
本の
It's a
中
shame,
の物語
man.
の
She's not
ゲヘ
better.
ナ学園給食少女を美しくするの
Take
は
those. Utah's really stat
熱
for
情さ
BVP. Later on.
「説明や解説が必要」「ゲヘナ学園給食」「試練が怖いとき」「試練が怖いとき」本の中の物語のように説明や解説が必要ご主人様と一緒に少女を美しくするのは怒ってないから誤解しないでね先生
There amounts of Kayaka as well.
顔が怖いってよく言われるんだ
Oh. Fingers crossed.
自警団任務の延長ですね 怪我をされた方はいらっしゃいますか？
Oh.
訓育支援部バイカ園のココナです。違います。これで
This account's getting them from the rarer schools. That's interesting. I actually have no idea what she does.
怪我をされた方はいらっしゃいますか？私、ミレニアム学園。怪我をされた方はいらっしゃいます。
Wrong silver-haired maiden though, I'm afraid. Oh, there's you again. We have enough to 3-star you now. I can't check the amount there. Feels bad. Or? Come on, love. Be a good girl. What's Millennium? Ah, it's the other banner. Amy. She's a fairly solid tank, but she needs tier 4 equipment. Unfortunately, which I haven't reached yet. Sorry.
バルキューレ警察学校のキリノです。ごきげんよう。あ、ごきげんよう。あ、ごきげんよう。
I feel like we weren't having Bina for a while there, and then here she comes back to back to back.
これから一緒に美味しいものを食べに行きましょうか。
Okay. Last 2 10 rolls that we have available at the moment. Oh, that's a first min roll, I believe. Let's go and do this. Oh, interesting. Well, it is. Looks like a dud. Unless it sparks purple here, which it did not. If there was ever a summation of my luck, it would be ending on 2 men rolls. Okay. So we need to come up with 30 more rolls within the 2 weeks that she's going to be here. Sorry. So 10 of those will be taken care of because of a 10 roll ticket that's coming like tomorrow, something like that. And then another 10 will be taken care of from the raid rewards. Speaking of, yeah, I finished gold, so I'll get 1,000 from that. So that will be tomorrow. Should be when they hand out those. And then the rest will be from doing dailies and such. But alright. Pretty interesting haul. And I'm not too fussed about it because again, we can just spark her here within the next 2 weeks. And be good to go. Now to work on raising all these little buggers up. Well, the immediately useful ones. It is definitely not recommended to raise them all at once because you will run out of resources, and it will be The big sad. It's funny that we got hair on both accounts. I was just like, oh, I suppose I could go and show you. So here's your basic stat menu for your students. Oops. Here you can see their skills. Oh. Okay, so Yuka here is one of your starter servants. She's a 2-star. So as you see, they have skills. However, her sub-skill is locked for the moment until she gets upgraded to a 3-star. Once they hit 3 stars, they have all of their skills unlocked. And then going from 3-star to 4-star and then to 5-star, those are just stat upgrades, at least until you hit 5-star and unlock the unique equipment, which is right here, which gives you even more stats. And as you star it up, you unlock, you get an enhancement on your skill and more stats, and then an upgrade to your moods, your terrain mood, because there are 3 types of terrain and each character has their own likes and dislikes about each terrain, which can give up to a 20% boost or penalty to their damage. And then down here is their equipment. Most students get 3 slots, but some, and they're still coming out with more of these every now and then, get a 4th slot, which is bond equipment. So once they hit bond 20, they'll get the tier 1 of it, and then they have to get to bond 25, as well as some material costs, so to go to bond 2, and they give various effects. So tier 1 here gives some plus 500 defense. It's basically taking the place of if she had a bag. And then the second one is an upgrade to her basic skill. So those are really nice to get. Now, bond is actually locked at 10 until you get them to 3-star, when you can take it to 20. But then you have to go to 5-star to go past 20. And yeah, I believe that's about it. Level up is a level up. These are your experiences, basically. And here's where you star them up. And then once that's done, you go here and star this up, as well as level it up. It's all very neatly arranged, self-explanatory menus, which is refreshing. But alright, I reckon that's enough jibber jabber here. So this is Blue Archive. And it's a lot of fun, really charming. The writing is really well done. It's a lot of fun, quite humorous, just really charming in general. And I'll work on getting some more of these for enough to spark and sort out student leveling and the like. Seem to have some sort of disconnect issue. I wonder if I did that on the main account as well. Doesn't seem to have.
Blue Archive.
But alright, that's been a little rolling session. Pretty keen on having some good luck on our main account, which preserved a spark for New Year's hookah. And which means now should be able to just work on saving up for Mika the month after her. Mika will be on the next Fest banner, so that would be lovely. But until then, take care and see you next time.